Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Leadership Void podcast. I'm Enrique with my co-host Vince to bring you the best in our veteran military spouse and first responder community. And Vince will introduce today's guest.
Thanks, Enrique. Pre-Thanksgiving guest we have here, Shirley Baez. Thank you for joining us. She is all the way from Tampa, Florida, academic instructor at Spathe Systems. So welcome to the show. Please tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy. So a little bit about me. I was born in the Dominican Republic, raised in New York City. So I'm Dominican, obviously. And no, I've always been a person that always been in the creative arts. I did modeling, I did performing arts. I played a lot of sports when I was young. And I knew that after, high school, I was trying to find something that I wanted to do. And right when 9/11 hit, that's kind of when I found my calling to serve in the United States Army. So that is where, a lot of my life experiences transpired. I have two lovely brothers. They live in New York City, which I am going to visit next week to eat some good Dominican food for Thanksgiving. So I'm ready for that.
Well, a big hooah to you. Thank you for serving in the Army and laying that foundation for yourself, your family. And Vince and I are both from the Bronx, so we're up from the city, so we understand what you're headed to. But as we get into the rest of the show, tell us a little bit about Spathe Systems.
Yeah, so I just came on board with Spathe Systems a couple of weeks ago. So Spathe System is a service and support company. It has a myriad of specialties, which includes IT support, admin support, academia, cloud, machine learning, you name it. It's still relatively a young company. They are primarily supporting the US SOCOM enterprise with providing them all the resources and assistance they need to win, right? So I'm very happy to be part of this organization, which has a lot of energetic and great veterans in it. So always wanting to be with a team that supports our veterans and our military community.
Well, thank you for what you are doing and the company is doing to thrive and strive. So we all had a pandemic that impacted us some way, shape, or form. And you, as an academic instructor, what post-pandemic lessons you learned or influenced you or your company during that time?
I think for Spathe Systems, they were relatively ready basically for the pandemic because everything was virtual. So they were able to assist in the virtual manner. They didn't have any issues with having to going personally to assist a customer was never a problem. So they were ready. They were ahead of the game when it comes to just being prepared and being in the virtual world through the pandemic.
Yeah, and it's nice to see companies, even a new company or fairly new company, position themselves for that, especially during a time where we were trying to figure out what we would do and how we would do it. And so it's good to hear. Now, the horizon looks different for everybody, and everyone has their own goals. So what does Spathe Systems horizon look like?
Well, I just found out actually that they won a new contract with FEMA to help them in their IT and audio visual components for their national center. And so that's another big win. I mean, we have a lot of great people that are very enthusiastic and energetic to push the company forward. And they're out there, just meeting and getting to know all these other companies and really being of service in, covering those gaps and those needs that those other organizations need. So I think we're headed in a great direction. Great for the end of the year to win that contract. So that's a huge win.
Absolutely. I know you swimming now with the big fish in the big pond. Obviously, winning contracts at that level, of that caliber, means that it's a manifestation of that team that you have in your wonderful company. Now, Shirley, let's switch a little bit and talk about leadership. And you talked about sports, military is a team sport. We had a lot of doing with our own internal leadership. So what do you do in your spare time to thrive and aids in your professional development?
I've always been a very curious person. Even when I was a young girl, I've always loved to learn different things. So I'm a lifelong learner. So that comes intuitively for me to read. I actually, one of the books that I really love is The 7 Habits. That is something that I always go back to. Like I have my little tabs on it because is for life, is for business, is for professional, development overall. Definitely being a lifelong learner really pushes me to keep on growing and evolving in my life.
Right? There's a lot of planning that goes into making sure you evolve correctly as a leader. And there's so many things that we actually get from other people. And so, what advice did you receive that you would like to pass on to an emerging leader listening today?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, aside from me loving to learn, I always had great mentors, whether they were not so good mentors and great mentors, because you learn from both. But one of the things that I would say that kind of impacted me as I was going and growing, within my military career as a leader was this book that I came across. It's called 24/7. The First Person You Must Lead is Yourself by Rebecca Halstead. She was one of the first female graduates of West Point, if I'm not mistaken. But that book, and I came across that book in a leadership forum that we went at Duke University when I was an instructor at Fort Bragg and Swick. And it really caught my eye because I was also going through like a self-reflection phase of my life. And that book really highlights the retrospection within yourself and leadership. So what I've learned and my aha moment, so to speak, is you can't lead other people unless you know how to lead yourself first. And so that kind of has been my mantra throughout my time as an emergent leader, and then now as I am still transitioning to civilian life. So that has really touched me and has given me direction in the path that I want to go with.
That's absolutely phenomenal because I say, books are silent teachers or mentors or coaches, right? So thank you. Kudos for sharing that. And you shared a great aha moment. So are there any other memorable leadership aha moments you'd like to share with our audience today?
Absolutely. There's so much. But one of them that I like to, render, and not everything is happiness and positivity, right? But there was a really really kind of dark moment in my leadership career in the military when I was leading a group of the top 10%, instructors in our branch. I mean, these guys were phenomenal leaders. A lot of them, I would have to admit, knew more than I did, and I was their first sergeant, right? So that was a leadership challenge that I had. And so I really had at first a really tough time with that group of individuals, and I couldn't really understand what was going on. And there were things that I was doing that I didn't see a lot of positive responses. But I think the aha moment came when I kind of got out of my own way and said, you know what, like, I have to get out of my head. I have to own this. If people gave me this diamond, this crystal diamond, right, to put on my chest, it's for a reason. It's because they trust me to lead these, you know, amazing group of individuals. And I remember telling my commander, sir, you know what, I need this weekend. I need this Friday until Sunday this weekend to go and do something. And I remember I went to one of my favorite places in Myrtle Beach, one of the hotels there that is, you know, facing the beach, and just sitting there and really thinking about, okay, what's happening? What's going on with me? How can I change the dynamic of my organization? You know, and it was that. It was basically, metaphorically, you know, taking that crown out of the shelf and putting it in my head and say, you know what, I am the leader here, you know, and I got to take the baton and lead this group of guys who are desperate to be led and move them forward. And I tell you that once I came back, it was 360. You know, I just, you know, something in my head just shifted. And it was a lot of, you know, that noise that you have in your head, you know, that self-talk, that it's not necessarily a positive thing, that gets in the way. And so I took control of that, and a lot of things changed. And one of the feedbacks that I've gotten, and usually soldiers don't give you feedback really, like, oh, you're doing great or whatnot, but I think it really touched this individual to where, when I was doing my change of responsibility, he told me, First Sergeant, you know, I know that at first it was a bit tough because we saw it, but I don't know what happened, that you came back and you did everything then so gracefully, you know, and I really appreciate what you did for us, because you really took care of us. And that's when I knew, oh my God, like, seriously, like, sometimes we have to actually get out of our own heads and start leading like the leaders that we are, and owning up to our skills, our capabilities, and our gifts. So that was a really aha moment for me. And then after that, I've just been straight, like, let's not be afraid, let's own this battlefield. So yeah.
Well, you know, some of the biggest challenges we will ever have are internal, right? As they reside within us. And once it seems like you saw that challenge, you met it face on. Good on you to realize that you needed some space, that you needed to step away and get your head clear, and you took that advantage and that opportunity, and look what we have today. So thank
Yeah.
you for actually being self-aware in a way that you could capitalize on that moment. And so we're going to face challenges. We're going to face times of change. So what are your strategies around those moments of change and challenge, and how do you execute that with your team?
This is a great segue to what I wanted to say. At the end of the day, it's not about you, it's about the people that you serve, you know. And once you realize that, once you own that, you know, that's when things shift, and when things get easier, when things change. For me, it was, I care about my people. I want them to succeed. I'm already about to hang up the gloves, right? Because I'm going to transition, and these are the future leaders of this organization, you know, and I need to set them up for success. And so they were my priority. It wasn't even about me, you know, it was all about them. But some of the strategies would be, you know, what helped me at least is just to be self-aware and empower the people that you lead, because you're not always going to know everything, and know when to ask for help. You know, a lot of times, and maybe is for us female leaders too, is that it seems like we want to prove something, right? And sometimes we're even so tough on ourselves that we stop ourselves from asking for help because we're afraid to look vulnerable, right? But that's also with a lot of us leaders who feel that that we are apt to do the job, but we can get blindsided, and we need people to look at our blind spots, and that is something that I truly learned as a strategy. Ask for help, empower those that know more than you, and always want to grow, always have that open mindset. Don't get caught up in the fixed mindset just because something has been done one way. Just be open to evolving and growing.
Yeah, absolutely. This could be totally a new podcast here where we can talk about, and a book that I can see coming, right, Shirley?
Wow.
But you mentioned, being effective in the battlefield out there, but you have to be great in the battlefield inside of your head first. So I think that's great pearls of wisdom, great strategies you offered. Give yourself some space, as Enrique mentioned. Self-love, self-awareness is so important. Thank you, Shirley, so much for giving insight to leadership and also what your company is doing. So for folks listening in, how do they get a hold of you, Shirley?
Yeah, so it's for Spathe is www.spathesystems.com. Check it out. They have an amazing skill bridge program. They work closely with the Warrior Care program, and they help transitioning service members, with their resumes, their interview skills, and also to gain, corporate experience working through Spathe, which is one of their partners. So that is one way. Also, to reach me, you can reach me at Instagram and Facebook. I am Shirley Baez. You will find me right away. And LinkedIn, Shirley_Baez. You can find me on LinkedIn. Also, one of the things, like you said, the book, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I actually wrote a manuscript for a book, and I'm actually working through a publishing company owned by a Marine veteran, who's helping me along, and potentially, we want to launch mid December, but let's see how everything goes. The book is called Lead Your Ship. So if you say it quick, leadership. So you lead your ship, you lead yourself inside, so you can lead your life professionally and personally on the outside. So that's how you can reach me.
Amazing. And folks, we're going to have that information as part of the show notes and video, so you can get a hold of Shirley or Spathe System. And don't forget, hey, we have Radio Check, 1st and the 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern, always looking to get in touch with our veteran counterparts during that time. Join us on LinkedIn Live. If you want to get a hold of us at the Leadership Void podcast, the Leadership Void at gmail.com is the email you'll actually send that correspondence. If you want to see a speaker or a guest, or you want a topic covered on leadership, Vince and I will curate that and make sure to respond. But thank you, Shirley, for your time today.
Thank you, guys. I am so honored to be here with you. And thank you for also pouring into our veteran and military community. Thank you.
And we're blessed to have you. And for everyone out there, happy Thanksgiving early as we going into this great season. And talk about great season. We're thankful for our sponsors, VEI, for being the great individuals that they are, sponsoring Veteran Entrepreneurship Initiative here in Central Florida. So thank you for being our sponsor. Again, it's all about Shirley today. Gracias. Thank you. Have fun. Travel safe. And we'll see you around the block, hopefully.